GEARWRENCH sent us a lot more than just a screwdriver set. Stick around to see what it is. I'm Tim Johnson. You're watching Shop Tool Reviews. We got in the GEARWRENCH 20-piece screwdriver set. No, it's not a 20-piece screwdriver set. It's a 20-piece torque screwdriver set. So the torque screwdriver goes all the way from 10 inch-pounds all the way up to 50 inch-pounds. You know how much that is? Well, if you divide by 12, that'll give you foot-pounds. So 50 divided by 12 gives us 4 point something, like 4.1 foot-pounds. I know, monstrous torque, but let's face it, we're twisting with our hand and not using a big ratchet handle to get any more leverage. So 10 to 50 inch-pounds, is it right for you? Is there an application for it? And I think you'll be surprised, so let's get to it. We've got a really cool new tool today from GEARWRENCH. This is the model number 89620, and it is a 20-piece kit, and it's a torque screwdriver kit. So you get in the kit the torque screwdriver, which is from 10 to 50 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds, inch-pounds. And then you get 19 other accessories here, everything from square drive, to Phillips head, to standard tip or straight slot, or whatever you want to call that. And then even in the 6-inch versions of them. And then even nut drivers from 3/16 all the way up to 1/2 inch. No millimeters in here. Obviously, the 1/2 inch is going to correspond to your 13 millimeter. And then your 7/16 to your 11 millimeter, and your 5/16 to your 8 millimeter. But otherwise, no other metric sizes in here for the nut drivers. But some pretty common sizes that will cross-link from the standard. Obviously, you could use any 1/4 inch drive for these nut drivers. So anything you'd use in your impact driver or something like that, you could use those in this. So basically, it's a 1/4 inch adapter, as I mentioned, just like you'd have in your impact driver or any other kind of multi-use screwdriver. Now this is calibrated from the factory. Let's see what it dialed in at. So we're looking at, let's see, plus or minus 1% at 20 degrees Celsius. So we're at plus or minus 1% from 10 to 50 inch-pounds. So I would say that's pretty close when it comes to calibrating a torque tool. That's actually very close. So that's going to do, and you want to make sure that you take care of this, like keeping it in a case, because something this small, you don't want to be over torquing this or leaving it where it's on one of the high values either. So make sure when you're done with your torque screwdriver that you back it all the way down and zero it out, not to 0, but in this case all the way down to the 10. Now, very easy to read this. I've seen some torque screwdrivers that require a tool to set it, like a big wrench or something like this. This does not require this. This GEARWRENCH torque screwdriver does not require any tools to set it. So we see we have this big knurled, maybe aluminum or steel, but anyway, we have this big knurled wheel right here on the shaft of the screwdriver. Pull that back and twist the handle. It's as easy as that. So either clockwise and increase in your values, or counterclockwise and decrease in your values. And if you let go of that, it's going to lock into place at each one of these tenths increments. So you can see there it's kind of it's in between right there, but once it gets to the value, you'll see this kind of pop up. There it goes. So it locks into place at each one of those tenths values. So right here, easy to read, as I mentioned, from 10. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. And then right here on the handle, we have 0 all the way around to 9 and then back to 0. So that would be our tenths column right there at the 0. So if I wanted 15 inch-pounds, I would pull the collar down, turn it around to the 5, and now I'm at 15 inch-pounds. I could put my accessory in and tighten whatever I'm needing to do. It does have a locking collar on here as well, and you'll see here when we put this in, it locks into place. Push this to back it out, and you see it locks back into the open position. Push it back in, and now I'm locked into place again. So I like the fact we don't have to slide that back to lock it. it's going to self-lock, and when we push that, it's going to eject and stay in that unlocked position. I can easily change out my bits if I need to, grab my Phillips, put that in, and again, I'm just going to slide that in, and it's locking it into place. Very comfortable handle, and something I noticed, or something I didn't notice when I first opened this actually, when I looked at it, realized what it was, saw the packaging, in my head I was thinking, you know what GEARWRENCH needs to do? They need to do something else to this screwdriver, and then lo and behold, if I didn't turn it around and see they had already done it. And that is allow a 1/4-inch drive here, so that if you're in a situation where you maybe not wanting to put all 50 inch-pounds of force with your wrist, because 50 inch-pounds, what's that going to be, 4 foot-pounds? It's really not a lot of force, but anyway, or maybe you're in a precarious situation, you can take your 1/4-inch drive ratchet and a small extension and put it in the back there, and now you can use that to tighten or set the torque value on that screw or that fastener. So I was glad to see that they had already done what I was thinking of when I saw the packaging. And let me back it back down to 0. Now, you may be thinking, well, what do I need a torque screwdriver for? Well, that's a good question, because there are many things that you do that I promise you probably could use a torque screwdriver for. Talk about termination blocks, or you're saying you're building some electronics for a vehicle and you're running wiring, whether it's for a stereo, whether you're adding better headlights in an old muscle car, things like that, and you're needing to run more wiring and maybe run some relays, some fuses. So we've got a fuse block here. Well, do you realize that even these screws have torque values on them of what they should be torqued at? And I promise you, you're probably way over torquing those things. Even these smaller nuts like we see here and this fastener here. So like these screws, these are probably number 6 screws. They should be torqued anywhere from 10 to 12 inch-pounds. So let me show you. So we're set at 10 pounds because we're at our lowest. And so I'll grab our Phillips screwdriver here. And then we'll see how this operates. So I'll just turn this around and you'll see this right there. So it didn't strip on the fastener. You see that the tip is not turning, but it's clicking right over the top and slipping basically at that 10 inch-pounds. Now, if I wanted to torque this guy here, that's probably a number 10. It's not a 1/4 inch, so that's at 30 inch-pounds. And so we'll grab our 5/16, remove this, and crank this down to 30 inch-pounds. There we go. So now we're at 30 inch-pounds. And then we put our terminal in there and we tighten it. And then you see it just kind of clicks over. So pretty cool functionality there with the torque screwdriver. Let me show you a couple more things that you probably didn't know. Did you know that an outlet should only be tightened anywhere from 12 to 14 inch-pounds? So this screw right here that retains your, your wiring when you're putting a receptacle in your home or in your shop, and you need to tighten down that screw on the wire. I bet this is another one that you way over tighten, because on these, again, code says anywhere from 12 to 14 foot for inch-pounds, or even the manufacturer may say that as well, which again is pretty low considering I know that usually what I do when I'm torquing down those wires, I think I really got to put the gorilla on it, when really at 14 inch-pounds, it's really not a lot whatsoever. So tighten that down, and again, let it slip right there, and that's your 14 inch-pounds. So that's something else. And then another thing that I know for years, have tightened these things, and you tighten them until they start twisting up and just about to break, right? Yeah, and in fact, you've probably broken many of them and thought, man, why did I go that deep? But anyway, so anywhere from, I think, a 7/16 inch size standard band clamp here, or worm drive clamp, all the way up to like a 7-inch size. So basically the same width, and this same with the, I believe it's 5/16 head, isn't it? This should be tightened anywhere between 35 and 40 inch-pounds. So something else that is pretty common, that now all of a sudden you know how much torque you should put on it, and you're not going to cut the hose, and you're not going to strip the hose clamp. So I can put my 35 inch-pounds on there, and now tighten that, and now it's clicking, and I know I'm good to go. So let's do something that may give us a little better visual of seeing the increments in this torque screwdriver. So I'm going to back the screwdriver all the way down to 10, and there we go. So we're down to 10, and I'm going to take this long lag screw here, and I've got a small pre-drilled hole here in this particle board. This probably came off some packaging or something. And so we'll take this and we'll screw it in until it basically clicks at 10 inch-pounds. There we go. There we have it. So it didn't go very far in at 10 inch-pounds. So let's bring this up to now 20. So there we go, what, 4 or 5 more turns, and then now we're clicking at 20. And now let's take this to 30. So we've got about 10 more turns in. And now we're clicking at 30, okay? So it looks like we're probably about halfway in with that screw. Let's go ahead and take it up to 40. So now we're at 40 inch-pounds. So that's about 23, 25 turns to get to the 40 inch-pounds. So a pretty significant difference jumping from that 30 inch-pounds to 40 inch-pounds. I know you're saying, oh, I know it's from 30 to 40, that's 10. But what I'm saying is, it's still significantly more than that jump from 10 to 20. And so it means something when you're over tightening these small screws, especially the smaller it gets, the more these numbers mean something. So it's not just insignificant when you're looking at these small screws and setting the torque value. Let's jump this on up to 50 and see if my wrist can take it. So now we're at 50 inch-pounds. So as I mentioned before, that's right at 4 foot-pounds. There we go. So again, a good 20-something turns before we really hit that first click. There it goes again. So now we've hit it. We haven't even bottomed out the screw at 50 inch-pounds. So gives you a little bit of a visual of that jump from 10 to 20 to 30 or to 40 to 50 and the type of pressure it takes to drive different screws. But again, you back down to a small number 6 or number 8 screw, maybe even a number 10 stud like this. And again, it means something when you're over torquing those, and there's probably a good possibility you may strip them as well. If you're like me, you probably never thought you would need a torque screwdriver, but with how the car industry, the automotive industry is going, and the amount of electronics that we see, not only in our household, but also in vehicles and just about everything else, the more and more there are applications and needs for torque screwdrivers. In fact, I've also realized that for my life, I've over-torqued tons of fasteners I didn't realize took such little torque, like a standard outlet, 12 to 14 inch-pounds. I had to read that like 5 times over to actually believe it, and that's the truth. 10 to 14 inch-pounds when it comes to torquing these screws here where it clamps onto your wires. Also small, Phillips screws like this at 10 inch-pounds, so that's not even 1 foot-pound. And then seeing the difference of what it took in driving this screw and kind of seeing those steps of every 10 inch-pounds, it kind of gives you a visual side or visual understanding of that step up in the power that it takes to do it. In the beginning, it takes nothing at 10 inch-pounds, but you get up to 50 and your wrist is getting tired and you're having to crank over, and it does take quite a bit of force. I know, not as much as when you grab a ratchet, but still. So the need for a torque screwdriver is there. And the old hose clamp. How many radiator hoses have you cranked on these things till the hose clamp starts to twist a little bit and get all contorted and you think, that's just right. Or, you know, everything's kind of bulging out from around it, and that's when you think, you know what, now it's not going to leak. But anyway, I realized I've been way over torquing those as well. So realizing that those worm clamps should be somewhere between 35 and 40 inch-pounds. So is there a need for a torque screwdriver? And I would say yes. Is it for everyone? Probably not, because this kit here, even though it's a 20-piece kit, it's going to run you about 180 bucks. I think it's $179 off of Amazon, and you can buy it several other places as well. But that's $180, so that's not a small amount of money by any means. It's a lot more than, say, a $20 or $40 screwdriver set. But again, you're stepping into precision and starting to do things the right way. And so a lot of times you have to step out and pay that bill to step into those precision instruments, and this is one of those. So, hey, make sure you check it out from GEARWRENCH. Again, this model number is the 89620, and that's the whole 20-piece set with the torque screwdriver. Also, keep track of us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you don't mind, would you hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done so already? And by all means, if you hated our video, give us a thumbs down. But would you let us know in the comments why? Have a great day. Keep smiling.